Hello, it's your girl Marissa back at it again with another video. I know that my cadence in uploading is basically once every 6 or 7 months, but we're gonna be really cute and try to ignore that and just focus on the fact that I'm trying to be more consistent. I'm trying to be better about documenting my life, which is why I'm filming this here video. So I wanted to do a quick little 3-month recap because March through May of 2022 has been full of so much. Some might say even entirely too much. I personally would say entirely too much. And I just wanted to kind of capture this moment in time because it's been a lot, and we'll get into exactly why. So let's set the stage. In January and February, I'd fallen into this really beautiful rhythm of working, seeing my friends, getting outside regularly. I was even running for fun, which is how you know things in my life are clearly going well. I was studying Chinese, more on this later, but that was a huge chunk of 2021 and then also the first part of 2022 as I was studying for a cute little test. I was dancing regularly, taking classes from guest choreographers, and one of the biggest things I was looking forward to in the first half of 2022 was finally overcoming my fear of choreography. For those of you who don't know, I used to be a classically trained ballerina, and that was like 15-16 years of my life. And then recently, but not actually that recently, around 4 years ago, I made the switch into hip hop, and it's been a little bit of a mental hurdle for me to feel like I have enough ownership over hip hop moves and the hip hop style. So creating something from scratch and choreographing has been something that really hasn't come as easily to me of recent. And I wanted in 2022 to finally conquer that fear. There were a couple of ways that I was going to be able to do that. So my dance team has these choreo group projects, which we do, and I got assigned to work with two of my friends, Cole and Juko, who are both amazing dancers. And we also have our dance showcase every summer. And so this year it was at the end of May. Needless to say, I was juiced to be working on more dance-related things, and in my second or maybe third group project choreo rehearsal, it was like the end of practice. I was super warm. I was doing a routine that we'd done 100 times, and I was getting up from the floor and just felt my knee go in. Like I got up wrong, heard a pop, felt a pop, immediately kind of gently collapsed to the floor. And I'll save you all the details of what it was like to wait for 3 weeks to get an MRI appointment because everyone and their mothers was getting ski-related ACL injuries, and apparently they were taking up the whole backlog of MRI orders. And overall, just like the general anxiety of not knowing what was wrong with me. But the long story short is that I partially tore my PCL. Yes, PCL, not ACL. It's the posterior cruciate ligament. It is a much rarer injury. But the good news is I did not need surgery for it, and I was expected to fully recover within 2 to 3 months. So most of March centered around getting injured, going back and forth to doctors for my PCL, and then in April I woke up in the middle of the night with like the worst pain I've ever had in my entire life on my right side. I thought it was my appendix because I remember from high school biology that the appendix is on the right side, and it wasn't. It turns out when I went to the ER, they were like, you have a kidney stone. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of thought kidney stones were a fake thing. Also, all of the risk factors for kidney stones, like eating a lot of animal protein or eating high salt diets or not drinking water enough, felt like they personally did not apply to me as someone who loves vegetables and drinking water. But this is my PSA. You can still get a kidney stone literally no matter what, apparently. So drink your water, hydrate or dihydrate. And yeah, kidney stone pain is really not fun. Some people have compared it to like giving birth, which I wouldn't know. But anywho, that happened in April, and there were a lot of like health related things that were happening in April, which was not the most fun. And then on the work front, there was this job that I was really hoping for. It was a really cool international opportunity, social impact oriented. And I'd applied for it originally in September. And after like 8 to 9 months of waiting and then also going back and forth with the hiring manager for that, in April, they told me that for reasons beyond my control, they were not able to hire me or anyone for that matter for this role, which was a huge bummer because I'd been waiting for it for such a long time. And then found this other job, which was also like a social impact related one, and interviewed for that, like had really great vibes from the team. And then found out like a week ago, basically, that they ended up not giving me that position either. And I think all of this hit while I was spending a couple weeks traveling, and I was just really in a headspace where I deeply missed feeling in my element. So being able to dance and run and to create and to do things that I was super comfortable with and that I really enjoyed doing. And there were just so many different things happening at once. I felt like I couldn't make plans because everything in my life was so hectic in literally every aspect, whether that was health or work, even deciding where I was living. And looking back on this time, I see how much I was craving stability and a sense of certainty and groundedness. Okay, enough of this outburst. TLDR, there were quite a few things between March and May of this year that were mildly challenging or that I was going through for the first time, so it was a very tumultuous period. But there were also so many good things that happened during that same period of time, and I would love to highlight them. The first one is my brother came home for spring break and we got to spend a really lovely week together. We even got to go up to Half Moon Bay. We walked along the beach. I was on my crutches hobbling along. He was on his 2 working legs. It was beautiful.
All right.
Are we eating good?
Oh yeah, thank you, son. Is that mine?
You deceived yourself. You had to face the consequences. Face the music.
But it's my birthday.
No.
Oh my god.
We would still pay him. But I don't change what you gotta eat.
March is also a big birthday month for my family, so I got to celebrate my mom's birthday, my cousin's birthday, and my aunt's birthday all within like a week or two of each other, which was so fun. I got to travel to Denver to take my HSK5 exam. That's a Chinese proficiency test, and it was just this really rewarding culmination of like a year and a half almost worth of studying by myself, and it was a really cute weekend getaway, except for the fact that there was the added stress of like needing to take this exam and needing to pass it.
Denver knows. Denver knows what my injury is. There it is.
I read some fantastic books. More on this later. I'm hoping to do another book review video because I have been reading some really great literature lately. I celebrated one of my best friend's engagements, and I celebrated another one of them trying on her wedding dress and getting ready for her wedding in September, which is insane. I saw Jesse McCartney live in concert, which was a literal fever dream. I also brought my 9-year-old cousin who got bored after 2 songs because Jesse McCartney was before her time.
I don't want nothing big. I don't want just anyone to put. I don't want my love to go away. I want you and your beautiful soul.
I found out that I passed my exam. My dear friend Nicole came up from New York all the way to California, and we spent this like wonderful day walking through this park in Oakland.
Hello.
There's a lot of scream.
I saw lily pads for the first time, which I'm not gonna lie, I also thought were fake. Like I thought they just existed in fairy tales, but no, they're real plants. That's my second public service announcement. Lily pads are real. Regarding my knee, I spent much of March on crutches, started physical therapy in April, started also doing Pilates more regularly in April because I needed a way to stay in shape without actively straining my knee again. So running for fun was definitely out of the question, which is how you know things in my life started spiraling just a little bit, just a tiny little bit. But I actually continued to go to the studio every single week and show up for rehearsals, even after getting injured. I still helped choreograph my group project with Cole and Juco, which they absolutely killed. If I can find video footage of it, I will put it in here.
Oh, the scars don't seem to disappear. Oh, no, they don't. So don't you tell me that time heals, babe. If only you could feel the pain I feel. It won't go after all these years. Oh, is that how time feels? I hope they never feel the.
And the great irony is, the song which I chose was called Time Heals. And as we were choreographing to that, I literally got injured. But also, time is healing. Like, that's the moral of this part of the video. That's the moral of this story. Time heals. Okay, anyway, icing on the cake is that during all of this, I still was able to achieve one of the things that I'm most proud of, not just in the last 3 months, but like in the past few years. I choreographed and taught my very first workshop through my dance studio, so shout out Redefine. I was able to choreograph something to the song Scenic Drive by Khalid, and I'm like endlessly grateful for that opportunity, and hopefully it is the first of many more workshops to come. Towards the end of May, I traveled to New York to graduate for real on a gray and rainy day 2 years late. I remembered how at home I felt at school and how lucky I am to have met such incredible, intelligent, down-to-earth, hilarious, kind, extraordinary people, and to have stayed in touch with them even through a literal pandemic. Having my grandparents, mom, and brother there is something that I will always remember. After that, I popped over to Martha's Vineyard for 2 days and celebrated my brother's graduation the very next week, and getting getting to see Manny with all of his friends and in his element made me insanely proud of all that he's accomplished, but more importantly, of the person that he has become. 2 days after I got back to the West Coast, I had my dance showcase, which I mentioned earlier. There is so much that I could say about this, but I'll try to keep it short. Traveling 2 weeks before the show is not the best way to get into show and performance mode. I'll give you that. Did I purchase my costumes literally the day of? Yes. Did I learn choreography literal hours before going out and performing on stage in front of hundreds of people? Also, yes. Would I change it for the world? Perhaps a little bit. I would actually give more time between returning back from a 2-week trip on the East Coast and actually performing, but you know, we can't always make choices like that, and I'm so glad that I got to see my brother's graduation and that I got to participate in my own belated graduation as well. The day of the show, my mind was in so many different places, between disappointment at work, uncertainty about whether my knee was going to be okay, the general chaos of traveling, and also the philosophical limbo of post-grad hitting me like a brick, asking myself questions like, what am I doing? What am I good at? What am I meant to be doing? And all of it was just really, really chaotic. And I was reminded of how much dance grounds me. It always has, and it always will. There are few things that I love in this life more than dancing with my friends. The process of working on something, rehearsing it, blocking it, cleaning it, interacting with other people on stage, the nuances of performing, working on your facials and your body language, and being able to share that with a live audience. There is nothing like it. And it was the absolute best way to close a very hectic couple of weeks, months, honestly. And it brought me back to the things that matter most to me: art, friendship, and community. There was also an added bonus because my grandparents came, and it was the first time they'd ever seen me perform hip hop. And not only did they not fall asleep, my grandpa actually enjoyed the show. My grandma did too, but my grandpa in particular, I'm obsessed with because his comment was that it was 差不多, which in Chinese, like one of the translations is like almost. Or if you were to translate it, it's kind of like the error or like the mistakes were not very big. So it doesn't sound like very high praise when you translate it directly, but for my grandpa, that is all I could ever ask for. And yeah. Anyway, in closing, these past 3 months have been so defining for me, and I feel like I have learned so much in a disproportionately short amount of time. It's been a time marked with visual reminders. My crutches were in the background of my Zoom calls for over a month. My knee support was in my graduation pictures, my brother's graduation pictures, and underneath my costumes at all of my dance showcase performances this weekend. And there's been so much that has reminded me of my fragility, of my own mortality, but also my resilience and my community and how much I love so many people and so many things in and about my life. March through May 2022 has been a crash course in so many of the things that people say are true of life. It's been a time with its fair share of disappointments, punctuated by some of the scariest and literally most painful things that I have experienced in a really, really long time. And it's also been a time of introspection and healing, and more joy and celebration than I can wrap my head around most days. So I guess I'm making this video because I want to hold on to all of this, to remember this time in my life, not just for the hard stuff, but especially for all of the good stuff that happened too. Thanks for watching.